So in this video, I'm going to share how you can escape the 9-to-5 rat race and stop being a wage slave.
See, society has lied to us our entire lives.
We've been told that as a society, we are more liberated and more free than ever before.
And for the first time in human history, this generation, our generation, is worse off than the generation that came before us.
Something is broken and in need of repair. We are broken and in need of repair. Now, in case you're wondering, this is not going to be some shallow video about how a sandwich costs a £5 or how politicians are lying to you, although that is all true, and I'm not going to try and sell you some dropshipping course at the end of this video, don't worry. And later on in this video, I am going to share some specific actionable things that you can do from today to start building your own life of freedom. Freedom over your location, to go anywhere in the world you want to go. Freedom to work on the things that you want to work on, to focus on the things you find meaningful. And most importantly, freedom over your own mind.
Now you're probably thinking, where do I get off telling you that you're a wage slave, and who the hell am I to tell you how to change that?
So first off, let me tell you what I'm not. I'm not some internet guru who's going to sell you some turnkey plug and play solution that's going to make you money effortlessly. I never went to university and I left school with 4.5 GCSEs and 3 Cs at A-level. I have pretty much done minimum wage jobs all of my life, and despite that, I've still been able to create my own life of freedom. And no matter what your life situation is right now, I just want you to know I get it. I know what it's like to find yourself feeling lost and directionless in life, simply bouncing between home and work, only to immerse yourself in Netflix documentaries to distract yourself from the numbness of your own existence, feeling deep down we are capable of more. See, for years I spent my life trading time for money, building jobs, gym jobs, cleaning jobs, driving jobs. I got loans to buy cars and fancy clothes and go on holidays I couldn't afford. Society had lied to me, and it had told me that by having more, I was becoming more. My daily routine was wake up, doom scroll, scrape the ice off the windshield, sit in traffic for 45 minutes in a £2,000 banged up car, get to work precisely 1 minute before 9, look forward to a strategically timed poo while scrolling on social media, do just enough work not to get fired, working for people I resented, doing work I tolerated, leaving at 1 minute past 6, and repeat this monotonous, soul-sucking routine every single day, again and again. I've been told I was free, and yet I was shackled by invisible chains, slaves to a system that exploited my desires, insecurities, and fears. This resulted in me getting to £25,000 worth of debt. I had a 248 credit score, and I was paying about £1 a month on a debt payment scheme. Even worse than being financially broke, I was broken mentally. Fast forward 7 years, and I now live in paradise, that is Thailand, and I work online as a digital nomad. I get to live in luxurious condos and visit beautiful, beautiful beaches. And my life is now rich in adventure. Now, this video isn't going to be without its challenges, but through challenge comes growth. And through growth comes the possibility of a life rich in both freedom and security. Progressive overload of thought leads to hypertrophy of the mind, helping you become fitter and stronger, and equipping you with the mental strength that you need to forge a new way in this world. And now I've dedicated my life to helping people just like you to create the life of your dreams too. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, George, this all sounds great for you, but what has this got to do with me? So let's get to that right now. We've been lied to our entire lives, conditioned by a society built on greed and power to crave material items under the false promise that having more is being more. The mating landscape has changed. Our worth is measured not by our character or our values, but by the number in our bank account, the number of bedrooms in our house, and how new our car is. Bonus if it has no roof. The car, not the house, obviously. We are the modern day version of the Irish elk, whose evolutionary drive for ever larger antlers led to its extinction. Our mating choices force us into a game of sexual selection that is so self-defeating in its objective, we are inevitably clashing our antlers to the death with no one other than ourselves. Our fear of an asset-less future drives us to make decisions that sacrifice our short-term enjoyment of life. We go to jobs we hate, or worse, jobs we tolerate. We trade our time for money and confine our lives to a small several square mile radius. And I do want to know, what is your situation, right? How do you feel trapped? How do you feel stuck? Is it a job? Is it your general life situation? What is it? Let me know in the comments if you can, because I really want to make more specific, actionable content that can really help you with your specific situation. Because I do truly believe that many of us are slaves to bosses who hold the threat of whips to our back in the form of being fired from a job which provides us with, let's face it, a faulty and perceived sense of security. We are slaves to jobs because, and this is a very important point, because we are slaves to our own mental weaknesses, which leads to the second and more difficult truth to swallow, and that we are slaves to our desire systems. We crave faster cars, bigger houses, and nicer clothes without ever calculating the true cost, the cost of our freedom and potential life experience. Right, you get that car on finance for the next 3 years, and as a result, you've shackled yourself to needing a guaranteed income for the next 36 months, or God forbid, you get a negative mark on your oh so important credit score. When people talk about the true cost of a car, they highlight like the MOTs, the service costs, the cost to replace a new tire, but they rarely discuss how you need to continue waking up at 6 a.m., trading 45 hours a week, doing work you despise for people you resent, living a life of monotonous, testosterone dwindling boredom. All because you thought that this car would elevate your status in society. Buddhist teachings have long highlighted how attachment, aversion, and confusion perpetuate the state of our inner suffering. Abraham Maslow, one of the world's greatest ever psychologists, emphasizes in his hierarchy of needs that beyond our basic needs, fulfillment does not come from external acquisitions, but from our own inner growth. Studies show that beyond an annual income of $75,000, now let's round that up to 100,000 just to be safe and because some of the studies are outdated, that subjective happiness does not increase with income. What that means is you cannot buy your happiness. Yet we continue to chase the next financial milestone, believing that under this stone lies our ever elusive happiness. Consider the comparison between a BMW and a Ferrari. Let's say we have a rating we can give ourselves of how happy we feel in that moment. We can call it a subjective score or subjective rating. So how content we feel, how excited, how secure, how happy we feel in that moment. And let's say you can give yourselves a rating out of 10. Let's say you're driving down the road on a lovely sunny day in your brand new BMW, and you are feeling a very impressive 8.5 out of 10 on the subjective happiness scale. Now, let's say you're driving down that exact same road on an exact same day, same weather conditions, be in a Ferrari, but now you register an 8.7 out of 10 on the subjective happiness scale. But ask yourself, was all of the extra work to get the Ferrari worth it? The extra hours, the stress, the risk, and time lost with your loved ones for an extra 0.2 on the happiness scale. Then there is the fear of denting the Ferrari and affording the maintenance costs. The extra costs become burdens, eroding any marginal gain in happiness you had in that moment. And your ego is reinforced. Look at me, I am the dog's bollocks, get out of the way peasants, I'm coming through. And the bigger your ego, the harder you fall. When my small little ego was at its biggest, I was most vulnerable from the attacks of others and even the different aspects of my own self. The Tao Te Ching wisely states, when gold and jade fill the hall, their possessor cannot keep them safe. When wealth and honors lead to arrogance, this brings its evil on itself. We fail to calculate the true cost of our desires, and this leads us to jobs we don't care for under the guise or illusion of perceived security. The pursuit for more does not make us happier, it simply perpetuates our slavery to materialism. The law of diminishing returns states that as investment in a particular area increases, the rate of profit cannot continue to increase. What this means is that beyond a certain point, the pursuit of material success becomes a hollow act. It's pointless, leaving us entirely unfulfilled. It simply takes from us without giving. Now, Maslow, the psychologist I mentioned earlier, he emphasized that true self-actualizations come from fulfilling higher order needs, such as self-esteem, love, and belonging, rather than the endless accumulation of stuff. Our modern day slavery is also visible in the uneven distribution of resources we have in this world. Millions starve while there are record numbers of obesity. Millionaires own multiple supercars while others lack access to even clean water. And you've got people like Mr. Beast, a YouTuber, going out and building wells and houses. Around 1% of the people in this world create 1,000 times more or use 1,000 times more of the world's resources. There is a huge disparity in how a certain number of people in this world use up all of the world's resources. To live free, we must free our minds from fear, confusion, and feelings of not enoughness. We must strip away society's Western consumerist measure of success and programming for us to always want more. True freedom comes from rejecting the notion that our worth is tied to possessions and embracing a life of purpose, fulfillment, excitement, exploration, creativity, and meaning. This requires a shift in perspective, recognizing that happiness and success are found in the quality of our experiences and our relationships, not in stuff. See, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And we need to reject the confines of physical locations and the chains of trading our time for money. We need to liberate ourselves from the self-imposed prisons of our own minds, breaking free from the mental slavery that continues to bind us in these empty material pursuits. If we are able to redefine what it actually means to live a secure life, we open the door to an entirely new way of living, one that harmonizes the desire for both short-term freedom and our own long-term security. The path to location freedom, financial freedom, and focus freedom begins first with freeing our own minds. By doing so, we can unlock the shackles around our ankles and can move into the direction of a life unconfined by traditional boundaries, where our need for security does not overwhelm and suffocate our desire for freedom. This journey is, of course, not without its challenges, as is all worthwhile journeys. But through challenge comes growth, and through growth comes the possibility of a life rich in both freedom and security. Progressive overload leads to hypertrophy of the mind, helping you become fitter and stronger and equipping you with the mental strength needed to forge a new way in this world. As we embark on this path, we have to confront the lies that we've been told all of our lives and embrace a philosophy that prioritizes experiences and relationships over merely possessions. The easiest way to get what you want is just to want less. Now, is there a way to want less without surrendering from the competitive marketplace like a timid Pomeranian surrounded by a pack of wolves? I do believe there is a middle way, and this is something I call middle way money, and that's something I'm going to be sharing in a future video. So if that's something that you'd like to find out more about, please do think about subscribing to the channel. Right, so what can you do about this? Here are 4 things that you can take away from this video. Now, firstly, I have put together a free 5-part email training called 5 Emails to Freedom, where I'll show you everything that you need to know to create a freedom-based business. It's 100% free and it literally has everything that you need. So get that if you wish. Now, what you can do if you do want that, scan the QR code hovering over my face right now if you're watching this on TV, or you can click the link in the description if you're on your mobile, enter your details, and I'll start sending you those emails right away. Number 2, recognize where you're truly deficient in life. As human beings, we are unable to grow forward unless we have a place to retreat. For example, a child is only free to adventure and move forward if they can retreat back to the parent, if they can retreat back to a place of safety. And for me, this is why I actually converted a Ford Transit into a camper van, because no matter what happened in life, no matter how hard it got, I could retreat back to a van. I had a roof over my head, no matter what, even if it wasn't wheels. And for me, that gave me the security that I needed to move forward, to take risks and actually start exploring the world. So here is what I think could be useful for you. Firstly, define the worst case scenario if you lost everything today. If everything went to shit, what does that worst case scenario look like for you? If you were to lose your job, your income, right? Where would you go? How would you eat? Would you move back in with parents? Would you move back in with grandparents? Would you sleep in your car? And then look to see if there's anything that you can do to mitigate those risks, right? To minimize either the chance that they happen or the severity of that downside. How bad does it need to be? And then if you can mitigate your risks, if you can raise that minimum standard that you can fall back to, you have a certain level of security that is going to empower you to move forward and take risks. You'll have the security you need to venture forward towards growth and actual freedom. And if you have nowhere to retreat, you have no security. Now, I do find it useful to think about lowering your standards and creating a place of retreat. There's a fantastic passage in Moral Letters to Lucilius in letter 18 on festivals and fasting, in which Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this condition that I feared?" For me, this became very real when I went on a meditation retreat a couple of months ago. I went to a beautiful meditation retreat in southern Thailand. And when I was there, I had to confront my own feelings of insecurity around money. And that was something that had really plagued me all of my life. This concern over long-term financial security that I think permeates many people's experience of life. And I had to confront this myself. But what I came to realize was I was on this beautiful mountain with an incredible view, with lovely food, in great weather. And if everything went wrong in my life, I could come here. And suddenly the worst case scenario for my life really wasn't that bad. The worst case scenario for my life was being on a mountain in a beautiful tropical climate, looking out at the best view I could ever imagine. So that equipped me with the security that I felt I needed to really move forward in my life. Now, I do not think it is always wise to burn your boats because you could end up on the streets. But it is wise to create a baseline of security that you can use as a landing ground if you do truly hit rock bottom. Number 3, start actually taking steps forward to creating your own online business. Look, if you're watching this video right now, first off, you are part of what is called the 10% Club. And the 10% Club is a small segment of people who have the attention span and determination to actually consume the content that's going to change your life. As 90% of people who started watching this video have clicked off. Now, of course, that does fall on me as well with my inability to retain viewers, but it does also signal to their lack of an attention span and your commitment. So you have the attention span and you have access to the internet. You have everything that you need to create several $1,000s a month online. Seriously, isn't that hard? And it isn't as hard as most of the online gurus want to make it out to be. They like to say, here is where you are, here is where you want to be. I am the vehicle that will take you from here to there. And that is bollocks. You are the vehicle to take you from here to there. A difficult, painful truth we need to recognize is that there are people with less resources, right, who have had a harder life with you and with a lower IQ than you, who are going to go out to outperform you in every single area of your life. But it's empowering to know that you have the raw materials that you need to actually create the life of your dreams. And you can create an income that you can earn from anywhere in the world. And you can choose your own hours and even the nature of the work that you do. Work you find meaningful, positively challenging in a good way, and exciting. And this, I believe, is true freedom. And number 4, stop buying dumb shit. You are not deficient of a Rolex. You do not need that new ASOS hoodie. I bought this a little while ago. You do not need a 2022 Beamer. Really try to begin to see where your deep-seated feelings of inadequacy and not enoughness, which many of us do have, are driving your purchasing decisions under the faulty illusion that will make you more of a person. I can assure you, the meaning-shaped hole you have in your life right now cannot be plugged by a Gucci watch or a Rollie. So I hope you enjoyed the video that I made today. If you did like this and you like content like this, I'm going to put out a ton of stuff like this in the future. So if that's the kind of thing you dig, please do think about hitting the subscribe button so I can notify you when new content comes out. And secondly, why not watch the next video that's recommended on the screen right now, because it's going to closely touch on some things that we covered today, and I hope you get a ton of value out of that. But thank you so much for watching, and peace.